today we're exploring this idea from Julia Garner
Oh, yeah, Julia Garner.
about horror films and why she thinks every actor should do at least one. We're looking at this article from Bang Premiere to get into it.
It's such a bold statement. I was really curious to see what she meant.
Right. Like, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
Someone like Julia Garner, who's already so successful,
Right.
would want to do something so intense.
Yeah, exactly.
So physically and emotionally intense. But I think she really makes some good points in the article.
Yeah, and I think we can all learn something
Yeah.
about not just acting, but like life in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely some good takeaways here for everybody.
Yeah.
So she says that horror filmmaking is just so intense, both physically and emotionally right.
Yeah.
It pushes actors to their limits.
To their absolute limit. She actually compares it to like an emotional boot camp,
Oh, wow.
which I thought was a really interesting way to put it.
Yeah, it definitely puts a picture in your head. So she feels like she can handle anything now emotionally after working on her new horror film, Wolfman.
Right. It's like she's got this superpower now.
Yeah. So it's not even just like scary situations that she feels like she can handle.
Right.
It's like any kind of difficult emotional situation. She says it's really expanded her range.
Yeah, she can play more diverse characters.
Right.
More believable characters.
Which is like the whole point of acting.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that something they learn in acting school, though?
That's a really good question. I mean, acting training for sure gives you the foundation. But horror, it just takes it to like another level. You're confronting extreme scenarios, the rawest human emotions.
So it's like accelerated learning for your emotions.
Totally.
Wow. So the article also mentions that Garner actually disassociates when she's filming these really intense horror scenes.
That sounds a little concerning.
Yeah, is this like method acting gone too far?
Not really. Method acting is more about staying in character for a really long time, even when you're not filming.
Oh, right. Right, where the lines get blurry.
Yeah, and that can be tough for some actors.
Yeah.
But what Garner's describing is more like a temporary separation. During these like really intense scenes, it's like a way to protect herself.
Okay, so more like compartmentalizing to explore those emotions but not get lost in them.
Exactly.
So she's creating this mental distance.
Yeah.
But she's still tapping into something personal
Right.
to make it real for the character.
Yeah.
The article says she thinks the worse she feels internally, the better the take usually is. That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing. It shows how powerful vulnerability is for an actor to be vulnerable.
Right.
It's about finding that balance, you know, between being in control but also letting those raw emotions out.
That's interesting because I feel like so often we try to suppress our emotions,
Totally.
like, you know, uncomfortable feelings.
You try to avoid them,
But maybe we should just lean into them, like Garner does.
like use them as fuel to grow.
Not let them control us. So how does she even get into those headspaces, though? Does she have, like, any tricks?
Yeah, so the article talks about that a little bit.
Okay.
She needs to be isolated when she's on set. She can't have distractions. She needs to connect with the character fully.
So it's like she builds a bubble around herself
Yeah.
to stay in the zone.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I mean, focus is important for anything,
Yeah.
not just acting.
Totally. Like any job where you have to concentrate.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like writing or being a surgeon or an athlete even.
Yeah.
You can't have distractions when you're in that flow state.
Exactly. You have to be totally immersed.
So this is like a lesson for all of us then
Yeah.
about focus and intention, like whether we're on a film set or just living our lives.
Absolutely. We've got to create those conditions.
Right.
If we want to do deep work, if we want to be our best.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We're diving deep on Julia Garner and her take on horror acting.
It's wild how much there is to talk about from just this one article.
Yeah, and it's gone way beyond that.
Right. Like it's made me think about focus and leaning into being uncomfortable. Like that applies to everyone.
Totally. It makes you think about all the things we're afraid to try
Right.
in our own lives.
Like what are those things that we're avoiding that we should really be facing head on?
Exactly. Like, what are our horror movie moments?
Yeah. What challenges could actually help us grow?
So I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
A great example is public speaking.
Oh my gosh.
A
Yeah.
lot of people.
I still get nervous.
Really?
Yeah. Every time we record, I get butterflies.
Oh, wow.
Like every single
That
time.
physical response, it's like,
My heart is about to beat out of my chest.
I know. It's crazy how strong that fear is.
Yeah.
But if you avoid it,
It just gets worse, right?
it gets so much worse. It's
Yeah.
like in a horror movie when they keep running from the monster, but it always finds them.
Yeah, it always catches up.
Yeah.
So what if you just turned around and faced it?
Exactly.
What if you just embraced those butterflies?
Use that energy.
Yeah. Okay, so Garner says in the article that she actually picked Wolfman because it was going to be so hard,
Interesting.
both like emotionally and logistically.
So she likes the challenge.
Yeah, she seems to thrive on it. Like
Mm.
she sees those tough parts as a way to grow.
I love that. That's such a good lesson for all of us.
So instead of seeing a challenge as like a roadblock,
You see it as an opportunity.
as a chance to level up,
Exactly.
it makes you stronger. And this isn't just about public speaking. Right?
Oh, definitely not. Think about someone who wants to start a business,
Yeah.
but they're too scared.
What are they scared of?
Failing or losing all their money
Mm-hmm.
or just not being good enough.
Like they were in a haunted house of self-doubt,
Yeah, but what if they just opened that door?
faced their fears.
Right. They might discover something amazing.
Yeah.
New talents or new connections.
And even if it doesn't work out perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
they'll learn a lot,
Or
right?
you'd be more resilient.
Yeah, they'll know themselves better. I feel like relationships can be like that too.
Oh, totally.
When you're afraid to be vulnerable.
The fear of getting hurt,
Yeah.
it can really hold you back.
Yeah, and you end up putting up walls.
Yeah.
Like you think it's protecting you,
Yeah.
but really you're just isolating yourself.
You're cutting yourself off from connection.
Right, so you have to take that leap of faith. You have to be seen,
Yeah.
even though you might get hurt, because that's the only way to really connect with someone.
Beautifully said.
Thanks.
Sometimes the horror movie is inside us.
What do you mean?
Like if you're dealing with anxiety or addiction,
Oh, right.
something that's holding you back,
Mm-hmm.
it can feel really overwhelming.
Like you can't escape.
Yeah, like a nightmare you can't wake up from. But what if instead of fighting alone,
Mhm.
you asked for help?
That could make all the difference.
Yeah. It's like finding a light in the darkness.
Like a lifeline.
Yeah.
Okay, so it might be a long road to healing,
It can be really hard.
but it's worth it, right?
so worth it. You learn so much about yourself. You feel stronger.
You take back your life. It's like you're slaying those inner dragons
Yeah.
and you come out stronger. Okay, so this is connecting back to Julia Garner now.
It is. It's all about how those horror movie moments,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that make you want to run and hide,
Right.
they might be the key to being your best self.
It's like you have to step outside your comfort zone to grow.
Yeah. And to realize how strong you really are
Yeah.
and that we can all change.
Mm-hmm. We're back for the final part of our deep dive, all about Julia Garner and what she's taught us about horror movies.
It's amazing how this talk about acting has turned into like a whole life lesson.
Yeah, about facing your fears and pushing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about how to be stronger and more confident
Right.
and how to handle those really tough challenges.
Yeah.
But what about like the unexpected benefits? The things that happen when you actually step outside your comfort zone.
That's where things get really interesting. One thing that people get surprised about is creativity.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you push past your fears, you have to think differently.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you have to find new solutions. You have to be more innovative.
Like you're thrown into a new situation and your old ways don't work anymore.
Exactly. And think about artists or writers or entrepreneurs. They do their best work when things are uncertain.
Oh, wow.
When there aren't any rules, like they get inspired by that unknown, by that feeling of being uncomfortable.
So those times when we feel totally overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
like we're starring in our own horror movie,
Right.
that could actually help us be more creative.
It's like your survival instincts take over,
Yeah.
and you become way more resourceful than you ever thought you could be.
Wow. It's crazy. So it's like fear can actually fuel innovation,
It totally can.
but it's not just creativity, right?
Oh.
What else do we get from this?
You also develop your intuition.
What do you mean?
When you keep facing your fears, you start to trust yourself more.
Mhm.
You learn to listen to that inner voice, even when it doesn't make sense logically.
It's like you're fine-tuning your internal compass.
Exactly.
You're figuring out what feels right for you.
And when you make decisions based on that,
Yeah.
you often end up in amazing places.
Wow.
Places you never would have found if you just followed logic.
I love that. It's like you're getting guidance from within.
Yeah.
Okay, but how does this all connect to finding your purpose?
That's a great question. When we let our fears control us, we're not living our full lives.
Like we're holding ourselves back.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're stuck in one room. when there's a whole world out there waiting for us.
So we got to confront those fears, so we have to step outside our comfort zone.
And then we can discover what we're truly capable of.
We find new passions, new interests.
And that can lead to finding your purpose.
And feeling like you're making a difference.
It's not always easy, though.
Right.
There are going to be bumps along the way.
Yet there will be setbacks.
But the journey itself is what matters. Facing those fears, chasing those passions. That's where the magic happens.
Like those epic adventure stories where a hero has to go through all these crazy trials. But in the end, they find out who they really are and what they're meant to do.
Perfectly said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, inspired by Julia Garner, it's clear that facing our fears is about so much more than just getting over anxiety.
Right.
It's about becoming the best version of ourselves.
Tapping into our creativity, trusting our gut.
Yeah, and ultimately finding a deeper purpose in life.
It's about experiencing it all, the good and the bad.
The fear and the courage.
And when we're vulnerable, when we embrace the unknown.
That's when we really come alive.
Absolutely. This has been an amazing journey.
So we encourage you to find those horror movie moments in your own life.
Yeah, don't run from the challenges. See them as chances to grow and change and discover new things.
And you don't have to do it alone. Find your support system. Talk to someone you trust. Celebrate every win, no matter how small.
It might not be easy, but it will be worth it.
What horror movie are you ready to star in? What fears are you ready to face?
What dreams are you chasing?
The adventure is waiting.
That's it for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and keep on